What do you think is causing guys to grow up into simps? And what can women/moms do to help?
Well, I just want to say that I love simps.
Yeah, well,
Of course you do. It's your fault.
Yes.
It's your fault.
I wouldn't say it's my fault, but there's a lot of reasons why. But I was agreeing with the girls too, I was agreeing with these ladies as well,
Which is what?
The lack of a father figure, broken homes, and not having, that right role
Why
model.
you your head?
And yeah.
Okay.
He got something to say.
He do.
What happened?
He don't
I was
agree.
just shaking my head. At that.
Why?
We're gonna get to him. Go ahead.
Nah, y'all finish.
He's shaking his head?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Y'all finish. Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say definitely having a father figure, but I'm gonna put that also on the women of who you choose to have a baby with.
Ooh.
So I think that's a big thing. I was raised by a single mom, so it's one of those things. I think even if you're an only child or you're raised by a single parent, it's the job of the parent. Like my mom was hard on me. I grew up with a very, I would say sometimes she was more of a dad as like harshness, more like instead of a mom in that sense. So I think it's important that single moms of sons don't baby their sons, but also find someone who's a strong male figure to put in their life. Like I think a lot of women that I know that raised sons felt bad, and so they overcompensated by babying their kids.
Right.
And the strong men that I know that were raised by single moms, their moms had them really step up, and they also made sure that they had, like, whether it was a coach or a teacher, a strong male figure that they went to, and then they had that piece. So.
What's your mom's ethnic background?
She's Hispanic and Filipino.
Okay, Mexican or?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like a tiger mom though. She's a tough cookie.
Would you say her disciplinarian side is what made you finish school, get a job in tech, and aspire to, be successful?
Oh, for sure.
Versus her nurturing side?
Yeah. So like my mom, I'm the first in my family to go to college.
Okay.
So like
Let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Do you think that fathers are better parents than mothers?
No.
For the betterment of you just literally
So better as far as raising the kids or disciplining? There's two different parts of that.
Well, raising the kid to become a reputable member of society.
I think that's from both sides, but I think for sons specifically, like women need.
Well, your mom had some masculine traits, and you ended up okay.
That's true, but I would say most people wouldn't be able to handle it. I also was the kid that like listened to like motivational tapes when I was 7 because I was like, I need to change my life, and I was reading I wasn't reading Harry Potter. I was reading like How to Retire When You're like 40 kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm an odd I'm an anomaly, and I recognize that.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get at here is that like the disciplinarian side is far more important to the child's overall development and becoming successful and being a contributing member to society than them being nurtured. I make the argument that I think fathers are the more important parent than the mother, especially in adolescent years and the formative years where that child can start making serious mistakes that fuck them up.
Yeah.
For boys?
For both. For both. I've always said that strong dads keep daughters off stripper poles and sons out of jail.
I know what.
Well, I can see that because as a woman, you do.
You know,
so I can
like your father is kind of like the first line of defense. I get it. Like the mom is important, right? Especially in the baby years and the child rearing years. But like as you become older, you get into teenage years, like fuck you, mom, blah blah blah, right? Especially with a son who's physically capable now to like bully his mom if he needs to physically.
Yeah,
it's the dad that's kind of like. Violence gets respect, right? Like that's just what it is, right? Like the reason why we follow the law is because the police and the military have the monopoly of violence. We obey the law because we know that there's going to be physical consequences and we can't necessarily overtake them. So it's the same thing with parents. If your dad can beat the shit out of you, well, you're going to more than likely comply to some degree.
Yeah.
Right?
I think your dad should expose you to the real world.
Yeah.
He'd give you that taste of what the real world really is.
And there was a study, Raul Tomasi talks about it in his book, shout out to him, that single fathers actually do better with producing children that don't become criminals and degenerates, etc. when they compare them to single mothers. But
That's sluts. That's true. I've done time before, and most of the guys in there didn't have their fathers. That's like a fact.
Yeah.
So.
I would say, I guess I partially agree with you because I hear more people have daddy issues than mommy issues. So I think that's a good way to put your argument.
Yeah. I mean, you might have some, don't get it twisted. Like you might end up with some maybe some attachment issues or whatever when you don't have a mom.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is that you at least, like with the father, he'll at least tell you what's right and wrong and tell you like how to not be a fuck up.
Yeah.